May we begin the session, guys? My name is Annalise Spire, and I'll be the chair of the session. Maybe you can wait just for 1 minute more so people can change between locations. Okay. I see there are people arriving. Um, this is a longer session, 60-minute sessions. So the presenters will talk about 50 minutes, and we can ask questions in the last 10 minutes or so. And if you want to ask questions, please just write it on the platform on the Q&A button, okay? And then in the end, I will ask the presenters the questions you might have. So, I believe we can begin. And today we will have an interesting session named Emotional Intelligence, a journey inside the emotional life within an immersive interactive setting. And the presenters with us today are Barbara, founder and managing partner of LogosNet, with over 25 years experiencing designing solutions, focused in improving organization behavior, job performance, collaboration, and digital mindset. And Fernando, also founder and managing partner of LogosNet, pioneer in simulation, extended reality, immersive learning, and also a consultant and speaker in various conferences. Guys, you may begin your session, please. Good luck.
Okay, wonderful. Thank you so much, Annelise. Happy to be virtually with you today. We would love to be also physically attending in presence in New York, but unfortunately we have other meetings in Spain today, even if we are from Italy. So we were forcefully in need to stay physically in Spain because in this second case we are not provided with the double option like the Learning Ideas Conference is providing us. So we had to take this tough decision. We hope next year to be all together also physically in New York. Anyway, I stop myself right now because we have 50 minutes mainly with Barbara. Barbara is about to take the lead because as a psychologist and a trainer and also as a managing partner from LogosNet, she's working around, about and on emotions since really many years. This today we are talking also on behalf of Roxanne Garner and Rebecca Meinhardt. Both the two were not able to join us. They are based in Boston. They are from the Harvard Center for Medical Simulation, and they are our main partner in this journey around emotions, mainly within simulation. So that is why we are 4 authors. Altogether, we prepared the material that we are about to share today and the article that you will find after the conference. Barbara, please.
Thank you. In any case, we will see Roxanne in a short video she recorded for us in order to be present with us today. So our topic is about emotional intelligence and how emotional intelligence is so important in our life, and mainly how we can improve our emotional intelligence. So let's share the screen. So we begin defining what is emotional intelligence and why is so important. In 2003, Harvard Business Review reported that 80% of competencies that makes us really good in our job are related to emotional intelligence. When we speak about emotional intelligence, we speak about our self-perception, so our self-awareness, the capacity to understand what's happening in ourselves about emotions. We speak a lot about emotions lately, but usually when we begin a training about emotional intelligence, for learners it's very difficult being able to name their emotion and to be aware of what's happening inside themselves. So self-perception is really important. Also self-expression, the way we are able to handle our emotions and to express ourselves. Emotions are related to our motivation, to the way we handle our life. And this is so important, focalizing the attention on the way we express our emotion, because it's also about the way we connect with other people. All what is interpersonal communication, interpersonal relationship is about emotions again. Decision making. For a long time, we thought that we, as human beings, we are rational and we can make decisions analyzing pros and cons in a very rational way. Unfortunately, or luckily, this is not real. Emotions have a strong impact in the way we make decisions and in the way we analyze the situation around ourselves before making our decision. And then emotional intelligence is related to stress management. We used to work with very different kind of roles, with managers in big organizations, with nurses in the hospital, doctors, with students. And stress management is a huge topic because there is a lot of stress in the way we handle our job, and sometimes it's difficult having the capability to understand what this stress is related to. So this is the big view about how emotional intelligence impact ourselves in our roles. But what can we do about emotions? Emotions are, we used to say that sometimes we feel strong emotions when there is something happening that triggers our emotions. And usually we speak about good and bad emotions. This is not the right way to think about emotions. Emotions are mainly the way we interact with all the world around ourselves. We are not rational animals. We are constructively understanding the world around ourselves, interpreting the situations with our rational mind, but also with our emotional minds. And the two are linked together. So each time something arises around ourselves, I'm walking in the street and there is someone walking against me, I'm scared, I'm feeling an emotion. This emotion seems to be triggered by the situation. In reality, what's happening in our mind is that we have a lot of old understanding of similar situation. Our experience guide us in interpreting this situation. We feel something in the body. We can feel muscle tension, cardiac acceleration, sweaty hands, and we label this feeling as an emotion. We can say we are scared. There is an interesting psychologist that teach in Boston. at the Northeastern University, that is Lisa Feldman Barrett. And she made a research asking people to name the emotions that they use mostly to feel during their days. And the results were that usually we are able to name around 6-7 emotions. You know, we have in English, we have at least 300 words to talk about emotions, 300 emotions. But when we are asked to think about the emotion we feel, usually we have no vocabulary. If I ask you now, think about all the emotion you can name. How many emotions are arising in your mind? I can tell you what's happening usually in our training. The answers are anger, happiness, fear, some huge big emotions. We are not used to really shadows our emotions, describing describing what we are feeling, describing what we are feeling at a body level and what we are feeling in our mind. We can stop sharing if you want. And in a minute, we share the video. So when we have to train about emotional intelligence, the main goal is to focus about awareness, self-awareness, to make people able to really think about what they feel and to try to put some name, some words to describe their feelings. Then there is a second huge topic that we will talk about later, that is empathy. Empathy, that is the main tool that we have when we speak about emotion, to connect with other people, to tune up with other people. How can we really improve emotional intelligence? We are saying that emotional intelligence is really important. We are saying that it's important to be able to face all the situations that can arise during our performing our job. We are saying that technical skills are not enough if you are not able to handle also relationship, decision making, and stress management. But why there are some people that seems to be so comfortable in handling their emotions, and there are other people that seem always scared or feel strong anxiety or become angry and aggressive. This doesn't depend on genetics. This depends on our culture, our value, and the way we were educated to handle our emotions. There are a lot of bias about emotions still now. In Latin countries, sometimes you used to think that women are more emotional than men. This is not real at all, but it's cultural. So when we are young, we can't let a boy crying. Don't cry, you are a boy. You are a man, you can't cry. And so the way we will express emotions growing up, it will change a lot. But emotions are not related to being male or female. Emotions are not related to being strong or weak. Emotions are the way we face reality around ourselves in a constructive way. So they are related to our value, our culture, and they are the way we interpret what's happening around ourselves in order to face it in the best way. So everyone can improve emotional intelligence, and how we work on this in our classroom. Lately, after the pandemic, we work a lot of distance. Before, we were used to work mainly in presence. What we try to do is to immerse people in situations that makes them feeling strong emotions. In order to improve, first of all, self-awareness about what am I feeling, what is the feeling that is arising. I can share with you a small video that we used to show in our training, asking people to describe really what they are feeling watching this video. Try to answer the same question. Try to really understand what you are feeling while you are watching the video. Here we are sharing. So we can't directly interact now, but usually I can tell you what the answers are. Usually the answers are related to I'm scared, or I'm disgusted. I think it's not right putting a person in this situation. It's too risky. But there is also someone telling, I'm admired. They are so great. They have a lot of courage doing this. And the first thing we gain in terms of self-awareness is that we feel different emotions in front of the same situations. And this usually is a strong insight for learners, because we used to think that emotions are inside the events. Emotions are related to ourselves, and this is the way we react to situations. So we use this kind of videos when we can in an immersive environment. Maybe Fernando, you can tell something about the real environment.
Oh yes, an immersive environment in our experience and setting is mainly 3 walls, entirely projected. We name it Irreal, enhanced reality lab, and the people may feel themselves surrounded by something that is quite close to the real world. Digital humans, scenarios, usually highly realistic scenarios, and things that are ongoing and happening sometimes unexpectedly, like into the real world. Think a medical simulation scenario or a management simulation scenario. Usually something happens that you were not aware of and you were not expecting about that.
So the more we immerse people, you watch a video on a screen. Watching a video is not immersive and doesn't involve ourselves so much. The most we are immersed, the most we feel a strong emotion. So first thing in our training usually is taking a look of a video like this one, sharing feelings, discovering that our feelings are so different, but also discovering that our feelings are full of thoughts. Because when I say, courage, there is a lot of value in it. There is a lot of my point of view, my rational point of view. So we discovered that emotions are not only feelings, but that are feelings related to thinking. And this is the way our brains works. It's not real that our brain is split into one half rational and the other half emotional. Our brain works as a whole, and we perceive situation both with our thinking and with our emotions. There is a nice concept that is emotional granularity. Could you share, please? Emotional granularity is about the capacity to put some shadows in the way we describe our emotions. So once we discovered that we are not able to name so many emotions, we discover also that being able to give a name to an emotion is a way to really understand what's happening inside myself. I'm a feeling in my body, I feel something changing, and I put a label. Being aware of this labeling and being able to really shadowing, to really choose the words we use to describe something so difficult like an emotion is a first big step in improving our emotional intelligence. There is an interesting book that we used to suggest in our training. That is Tiffany Watt-Smith. She's a psychologist, and she wrote this book that is like a description of 150 emotions. And what's interesting is that there are emotions that we know, let's say, that are well known in our cultures, but there are also emotions that are from different cultures. And this also is really interesting in training, discovering that our emotional lives is culturally embedded, both in the way we feel emotion and both in the way we express emotion. We express emotion by nonverbal communication. We can see 4 different faces, but we can't be sure about what these faces are expressing. We can try to guess, but it's really risky, because take a look of the first man of the upper left side. Maybe he's happy, maybe just made a point in a game, maybe he's in pain, maybe something bad is happening to him. If you take a look of the last woman, Adele, he seems so sad. But to really understand emotion within the context. And with the context, we understand that the first man was not in pain, but was winning, that Adele was winning, and she has something in her hand that is a good moment for her. She won something, and maybe she's not sad, but she's so happy, and the way she's displaying with her face is not immediately simple to grasp. So, why we immerse people? Because understanding the way we express emotion, again, if we are in an immersive space, is really more simple. And then there is another methodology we use. We use actors, but also virtual humans. And we can share Roxanne speaking about avatars and virtual humans. And then I will present you Anna, one of our virtual humans, so you can see how she's able to express emotions and how she's able to deal with people in a real interaction.
I'm copying and pasting the link to YouTube. Just a second.
Thank you, Fer.
During our courses at the Center for Medical Simulation, there are often times when we decide to include a case as part of the curriculum for managing a difficult conversation. So this could include breaking bad news, of a whole range of kinds. In clinical medicine, there's all kinds of bad news that can be broken at any given time, and it's nice to have some training and preparation. Obtaining an informed consent would be another challenging conversations in certain circumstances. Disclosure and apology if there's been a medical error or adverse event or a near miss. These are things that are now much more likely to be transparent and shared with the patient and or family members who are involved. And so having opportunities to experience managing a conversation like this is a real advantage, I think, to your ability to feel comfortable and confident when you really have to encounter one of these in a moment's notice in real time. So again, most of our courses have been in person, so we can create these opportunities and have a person-to-person conversation and use these skills. However, with COVID, it really was a good prompt for everybody around the world to switch over to virtual learning environments and to figure out new ways in which to create an effective learning experience with an online platform and provide opportunities to practice these difficult conversations. In some ways, I think with the virtual world, it seems easier because you don't have the one-to-one, face-to-face, in-person room experience with somebody who you might be able to better see their emotions or their nonverbals behaviors. Online, you certainly can see them, but there seems to be a little bit more of a distance that platform provides with these kinds of experiences. So in some ways it can be thought of maybe even as trying it virtually first before you go into even a simulated real encounter. I mean, real, by that I mean it's a simulated in-person encounter. And in the virtual world, you can either have a conversation direct with somebody, like in a Zoom room or in a breakout session. And that can be quite powerful, again, because you can still see some of the nonverbals. The other thing that has been being even greater developed prior to and especially since COVID is the use of avatars. So the avatars, my experience in working with them is not extensive, so I can't claim that I'm an expert in avatar-based educational approaches. But from what my limited experience has been, they can be engaging when the avatar can is programmed in such a way and designed in such a way that it can facilitate a real live response to the kinds of questions that you're asking, and can adjust the way a human might adjust. So, but now I think there's been a much broader array of avatar appearances. And so, I look forward to becoming more adept at using this type of technology and incorporating it into our learning sessions. We still offer virtual courses in our clinical simulation world. So I'm sure we're going to have some opportunities to take greater advantage of avatars. And Fernando, I know, has been working really hard with his team on creating the avatars that I'm describing as the ideal, which is trying to make them more immediately animated and responsive to whoever is speaking with them.
Guys, you are muted.
Oops, thank you so much. I was saying that we will show now the avatar as Roxanne was describing. And the use of avatars in training allow us to really face several times the same situation, and to have the possibility to train a specific competence like empathy, trying and trying again the same situation. Let's meet Anna, so you can understand what I'm talking about.
I'm ready to meet Anna, the digital human.
Hello, I'm Anna, a virtual human. I'm designed to help people improve their competencies through role play. Virtual reality and artificial intelligence can help scale and create a very effective experiential learning. Play with me in order to improve your emotional intelligence. I can play different roles in different scenarios. Just a click and I change my location. I can be your colleague, your patient, your client, your boss, your visitor. Anything that can help you in your practice. And most importantly, I can express emotions just like you. Work with me and you will learn how to deal with angry people, or we can share the same happy moment. You can practice your empathy and how to deal with emotions in a powerful and engaging way. So I look forward to meeting you for a demo. Wishing you all the best.
So Anna is one. Do you have? Okay. Is one of our virtual humans, but we build virtual humans with very different aspects, with very different style, able to live virtually in different environments. Think about empathy. Empathy is strategic when we speak about emotional intelligence, because empathy is about being able to step in another person's shoes, understanding and being able to talk about their emotions without judgment. Is huge and is difficult. With the avatars, we have the occasion to practice emotional intelligence. And we have the occasion to practice empathy also with people that we don't like at all. Empathy is not sympathy. Being empathic means that I can step in shoes also with people I completely dislike or with people I disagree with. But I can feel their feelings. I can be in touch. I can create a connection. So we work, for instance, building avatars with different color of the skin, male, female, with a lot of diversity. Because sometimes we discover that people are more willing to be empathic with certain kind of persons, and they are more in difficult when the color or the age or something changes. So dealing with diversity is really a huge exercise. Our avatars are alive on the screens. Our avatars are alive in our immersive room. Sometimes they are like Anna, a little bit cartoonized. Sometimes they are like humans, but they are avatars. What they offer is the occasion to practice and practice again. And what we found is that at an emotional level is more simple practicing with a virtual human, because learners are less, let's say, less scared about making mistakes. They can put their self in the game without risks. And this is so important when we want to change and improve some soft skills. Would you like to add something about avatars, Fer?
It's really an interesting journey. I was also answering by chat to some questions. Anna is the avatar we are dealing with today, for us this evening, but not in New York. Is not a commercial solution, at least not so far. Is an ongoing project developed in Boston with the Center for Medical Simulation, developed in Italy, and developed in Switzerland with different polytechnic schools. If you would love to have a direct experience with one of our avatars, let us know. Ping us, ping me at salvetti@logosnet.org or at bertagni@logosnet.org. Is the Barbara's email. And we can arrange a 10-15 minutes session in order to allow someone directly talk with the avatar and to the avatar.
We have different avatars. There are what we call real-time avatars that are animated by someone in the back, and there are avatars that use to talk with, let's say, a tree conversation. But we can go deeper on this. I would like to share one last video that is about another way we use to give an occasion to practice empathy and to deal with emotion. That is an aggressive boss. This time is not an avatar, is a real human, and is Francesco, a really young and aggressive boss. Let's see it together.
So, what's this? Is this your work? How could you make such a mess? Tomorrow I have to present a project, and this is what you prepared? You are driving me crazy. You never learn. It's unbelievable that you can even do the easiest of tasks. And this was the bare minimum. You can even do that. I can't believe I have to work with such incompetent people. I don't know what to do with you anymore.
Again, this is a different way to practice empathy. Imagine if you have to be empathic with this man, with this young man. It's so difficult. Usually what is really difficult is stopping the judgment. All these real cases, all these real situations, in the immersive room, they are more real, make people really deal with their emotions. And is really a good practice, because when you deal with empathy, you need to put yourself in other person's emotions, so you have to stop the judgment. And when we were listening to Francesco, it was really difficult to stop in the judgment because he was very aggressive. And the real case give the learners the possibility really to try to listen, to try to stop judgment, and to try to understand that in this case, under aggressivity, there can be a lot of different feelings. Maybe it's not only anger, but is being scared, is being anxious. Francesco was really anxious in a lot of things he told us. So working with emotional intelligence is like having a journey, meeting different kind of real and virtual people, and facing and being immersed in different situations. In our real immersive room, we have natural disaster, like earthquakes, like fire, situation that makes us feel strong emotions. Staying in the room for usually short experiences, 3 to 5 minute experiences, and then debrief together, working together in analyzing what were our feelings, what we felt as feelings from other people, is really huge in order to go deeper in this world of emotions, to understand and to grasp better emotion in our life. Fair. Something to add?
Oh, yes. Think about me. By background, I'm a lawyer and an educator. I'm not at all used to deal with emotions. My emotions are emotions from my, in the past, counterparts, in the present, classrooms, students, learners. Working with avatars, working with tools from the extended reality world was really providing help in order at least to understand something about what is happening within human dynamics and related to something that is a big question mark. Because if you ask a lawyer, if you are in need to train a lawyer, or if you are in need to train people without a strong background in human and psychological sciences, is really challenging, trying to bridge different perspectives, different approaches, and to build a common understanding about emotions. Dealing with avatars and dealing with emotions via the avatars, or watching videos and having quick feedback about videos, or approaching sometimes totally counterintuitive situations like Godzilla destroying buildings. So a short movie, short cut from a movie, and then being briefed in real time with short tips, short suggestions, short questions in order in real time to align your behavior, trying to reach the expected results, the expected outcomes. Think that expected outcomes may be something related to a trial, something related to a commercial negotiation, or something related to a clinical activity, a clinical intervention. Think interprofessional simulation within healthcare. Very different fields of action, Same means, same tools, same approach, extended reality in order to empower the learning experience. So from my perspective, this is a good and effective way, and we are analyzing a lot of outputs from the learners, mainly in Boston, with our partners from the Harvard Center for Medical Simulation. We are learning a lot from these outputs, and we are understanding that the average learners are really in need to be trained, to be empowered with something that is from the future, like the avatars, like an interactive way to discuss videos, something that really may benefit from the know-how that is directly arriving us thanks to the psychologists, to the sociologists, the anthropologists, those strange people that sometimes are talking very strange things, but they are able to walk the talks and to provide us with something that, in my opinion, is really useful. And I stop me.
Thank you for the strange people. Let's listen to your questions and your comments.
I have a question, guys. Have you ever tried to measure after the training of emotional intelligence? How do you know it worked? Have you reached that point yet, or are you still figuring out?
But for instance, with Roxanne, we work on emotional intelligence in crisis resource management. So how a medical team faces the crisis, trying to really work as a team. And emotions are a huge part of this work, because when there is a crisis, there are a lot of different emotions on the field, and in a lot of times people used to feel that these are, let's say, bad emotions, are this kind of emotions that confuses the thinking and the possibility to behave and to perform in the best way. So we tried with Roxanne, we measured all the training in crisis resource management with the traditional methodology. So the lecture and the explanation of how to deal with crisis. And then we measured the results with an immersive training. So we face situations. Roxanne is using Godzilla, for instance, or real videos from real crisis. And what we discovered is then when people had the occasion to practice in an immersive setting, they are more ready to really perform using all what they learned. So usually at the Center for Medical Simulation, they simulate, and during the simulation, if the team that entered the immersive setting was able each time immediately to perform, taking care of the emotions of the team. Was not the same for the other teams. So in terms of memorization, in terms of readiness to perform, the numbers was really interesting. But till now we had, I think, 14, 15 teams only performing this with measuring and monitoring them.
Yeah, small numbers, and sometimes it's challenging, really being able to monitor and to have or figure out numbers and percentage. We are doing that as much as possible.
And we try to track also how people feel themselves in the situation, how confident they feel themselves in facing a crisis, because also this is very important in giving us the possibility to perform at our best.
Barbara, we have a question into the chat about emotions and gender.
Okay. So it's not gendered, and we can also say it's not positive and negative. It's positive and negative in our perceptions, but all the emotions are really, we can say, useful to understand, because they tell us a lot about ourselves, a lot about what do we think and how do we feel in front of what's happening around ourselves. You know, scientific evidence from neuroscience shows that as human beings, we are not passive receivers. We are, our brain constructs meaning actively. So when we feel an emotion is something related to the way we are perceiving a situation. So all emotions are really positive, thinking in this way. We don't have differentiation. Some authors used to distinguish in between basic emotions or primary and secondary emotions. From the neuroscience point of view, this is not an interesting meaning, because let's say, is a way to explain to a large public how we can speak about emotions. We don't have a category to split emotion in. We have shadows. We have a lot of shadows to use. I don't know if I answered your question. I hope so. Most of all, what I would like to add is that the main bias that usually arises during our training is that, for instance, anxiety is for weak people and anger is for strong people. Again, no, all the emotions are related to ourselves, or the emotions tell us something about ourselves. Feeling a strong anxiety doesn't mean that we are weak. It means that we care about a situation, and it means that we put all our effort, and maybe that at a thinking level we would like to perform in a, let's say, perfect way. Perfectionism sometimes is related to anxiety. But not at all is not a categorization of being strong or weakness. Is strong who is able to speak and deal with his emotions.
Okay, guys, thank you. We have about 5 minutes to end the session. If anyone has any other question, that's the moment. Or if you have some final words to say.
There is Jessica on the chat. We are ready now.
How does my change the experience? Yes, it's very different. We use both the methodology. Sometimes we use avatars. Sometimes we use also 3 or 4 avatars altogether. Imagine the situation for the medical teams when they have to face a patient, but also the family of the patient. So sometimes we have a situation with 2 or 3 avatars, and on the other side, we can have only one learner or a team of learners. Working in teams is very useful because gives the opportunity to share emotions and to have this grasp that we are all different in participating of at the same situation. And this is a strong insight. At the same time, it's good having a time all alone to practice. Because when we are all alone, usually we are less scared about making mistakes. So we can we can try and try again. We can also try different way from the way we used to perform. So both the methodology are very useful. And what we usually do at the end of the training is offering an individual coaching session in order to go deeper after the work with the avatars, after all this training, having the opportunity to really understand better and make the personal development plan. Ferro, would you like to add something?
No, I think you answered the Jessica's questions, or at least I hope so.
Thank you, Jessica. So if you are interested and if you want to see some of our immersive environment or speak with an avatar in real time, don't hesitate. We are waiting for you.
Thank you, guys. Wonderful being here all together.
Okay, thank you, everyone.
Thank you. Bye.
All the best. Bye-bye, guys.